Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Talk to Me Prep Net, Sunday evening, 6 p.m. We'll go ahead and check, see if we got anybody that would like to register. Please go ahead and speak your username clearly and let us know what state you're in. We'll get you registered. If you would like to monitor only, that is fine. When you're registering, please just let us know that you are monitoring only tonight. One more try here. If you would like to register for the net, please go ahead.
Good evening. This is Donna in Montana.
Good evening, Donna. Glad to have you here. Do we have anybody else who would like to register for the net? Please go ahead.
JC, Louisiana.
Copy that, TC. Welcome on in. We got you down. Do we have anybody else who would like to register for the net tonight? Please go ahead. Okay, we'll check here again in just a couple minutes. Like always, we'll throw our information out there. We do have an email address. If you would like to send in a question or a comment via email, in the comment section, please put, in the subject section, please put question for questions and comment for any comments. The email address is prepnetch14@gmail.com. Again, that is prepnetch14@gmail.com. And I'm going to give a short break. We also have a YouTube channel where all of our nets get posted, as well as expanded presentations to dive deeper into the subjects that we present here on the Prep Net each night that we do this. So the YouTube channel is the @sign, just like in the email address, at prepnet-talk2me. Again, the @sign at prepnet-talk2me is the YouTube page. We're going to check. Do we have anybody else who would like to register for the net? Please go ahead. Okay, well, Jim, if you are ready, sir, we will go ahead and pass the mic over to you.
Okay, Red Bear, and everybody's checked in, and all those who are sitting out there listening. And those who haven't checked in and are not here, they're going to miss a good one. Anyway, all about electricity, part 20. Powering my AC stuff. Now that we have discussed batteries, battery banks, battery solar panels, charge controllers, and various components of a complete backup electric system, it's time to harness electricity from the batteries and run appliances or other electric equipment. Most people will run a DC to AC inverter to run their 120-volt AC electric equipment. But before we get into that, I wanted to explain the wiring of my system to an AC inverter. My 9 280 amp hour 24-volt batteries are each connected to master bus bars using 4/0 wire, which is almost a half an inch in diameter. Great. This connects those 9 batteries in parallel, so I have a total capacity of 2,520 amp hours, which is over 65 kilowatt hours. Each battery has a large 175 amp connector to the master bus bars. This allows me to remove a battery from service for repair without having to shut down the system. It would also allow me to connect additional batteries for more capacity without disturbing a running system. Now, the output of my MPPT charge controller is connected directly to the master bus bars by 12-gauge wire to charge them. Right? The power from the master bus bar goes as follows. Now, all positive and negative cables are from the master bus bars are 4/0 size cables. They're kind of on the big side. The positive of the master bus bar goes to a 200 amp DC breaker, which then goes to my 200 amp battery protector. Then, out of the battery protector, to the positive is delivered to the positive of the AC inverter. The negative from the master bus bar goes directly to the AC inverter. And finally, we have arrived at the inverters. Yes, inverters with an S. I have two inverters. Break. One is a 2,000 watt, 120 volt pure sine wave inverter, and the other is a 5,000 watt, 120, 240 volt split phase pure sine wave inverter. First, what is a pure sine wave inverter? Aren't all inverters the same? No, they're not. Years ago, the first inverters, and now the cheap inverters, are modified sine wave inverters. However, a modified sound wave inverter creates this AC by getting to the positive and negative peak voltage of 120 volts in steps. Now, for more information on the differences between modified sine wave and a pure sine wave inverter, watch our expanded presentation on this topic. There's more info there. Great. Now, using the inverter that produces a pure sine wave will give you the same quality of power you get from your wall outlet. Second, you ask, why have two different inverters? And the answer is overhead. So what is overhead? Anything that needs power to operate will consume power, even if it's just sitting there idling. So my 2,000 watt inverter, when turned on, but I'm not running any AC loads, will consume 0.3 amps or 7 watts of power from my battery. In 24 hours, that will have consumed over 7.2 amp hours of power from my batteries and has not run a thing. Right. The 5,000 watt inverter has an overhead of 3.5 amps or 94 watts at idle. Running for 24 hours will eat up 84 amp hours of my battery bank capacity without giving me 1 watt of power to anything I want to run. That's almost 12 times more wasted battery power than the smaller inverter. Now, if I only need to run something that uses low wattage, my 2,000 watt inverter can handle that, and I will not be wasting a lot of power on its overhead of 0.3 amps per hour. So I use the inverter that fits my needs to be the most efficient. And I do not run both inverters at the same time. And I only turn them on if I need them, otherwise they're off. Great. Now remember, I'm not running my whole house from this emergency system. Okay, I can now run AC inverters from my battery bank. But how is that AC electricity being delivered? First, the 2,000 watt inverter. This inverter has two 120 volt outlets on it. I have run a 120 volt electrical line to 3 central locations in my house to provide AC power in times of emergency. Each of those runs has a standard 20 amp plug on the inverter side. To power any of those locations, I just plug that line into one of the 2 AC outlets on the 200 watt or 2,000 watt inverter. And now I have AC power at that location. Great. Now with that 2,000 watt inverter, I can power all 3 locations with small power usage. two of the locations with moderate power usage, and one of the locations with heavy power needs, say like a microwave. This actually fits most of my AC electric needs. Now, if I need more power to run electric tools, plus a refrigerator, plus the microwave, or to run higher wattage equipment in more than one of those house locations, or to run my 240 volt deep well pump, I'll run the 5,000 watt inverter, but only as long as I need it. So how do I deliver the power from this larger inverter to those three central locations? Great. First, the 5,000 watt inverter has no 120 volt outlets. All output is through hard wiring. Plus, it outputs 240 volt split phase power. That's just like the power that comes into your house from the electric company. I wired the inverter's output to a split phase breaker panel, which has one 30 amp 240 volt breaker and four 20 amp 120 volt breakers. This gives me an extra layer of protection, just like the breaker panel in your house. The 30 amp 240 volt breaker is what powers my 240 volt deep well pump. The other four 120 volt breakers power four different 120 volt AC outlets in the basement. Great. One AC outlet for each of the three locations inside the house, and one extra one in the basement near the battery bank itself. To power any or all of these three house locations, I plug the lead for that location into the proper outlet instead of plugging it into the outlet on the smaller inverter. The reason for this three different outlet circuits, or four, is to balance the 240 volt split phase load from the bigger inverter. If I didn't balance this, the inverter would shut down due to overcurrent. The 5,000 watt inverter also has 240 volt power coming in from the grid, which allows this inverter to charge my battery bank with up to 60 amps going into the batteries. Great. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't say anything about powering lights. That's for next week, and you might find it interesting. For this topic, I highly recommend that you watch the expanded presentation on our YouTube channel. Enter at prepnet-talk2me. That's the @ prepnet-talk2me for a better understanding and a bunch more information on this topic. Next week, we'll continue our All About Electricity series and discuss why do I use 12 volt and 24 volt DC power direct from my batteries. If you have any questions about what we have discussed here or on anything about prepping, please ask during the roundtable or send your questions to prepnet, ch14@gmail.com, and enter question in the subject line. Great. A quick announcement. We are trying to periodically get guest presenters on this net. Our first guest presenter will be TC in Louisiana, who will explain making lye soap. We haven't finalized the date this will happen, but it's coming soon and will be announced the week before. Now, if anyone else wants to do a short presentation on something you have done that might be of interest to our listeners, please email our Gmail account detailing what you want to cover, and we can get that going. With that, I'll turn it back to Net Control.
Yeah, Jim, thank you very much for making that announcement. I'm actually very excited for TC to step up with the content for one of our nets tonight here, for one of our nets. So very excited about that. And again, you know, even if you're in the background monitoring and you would like to bring something to the table here for the prepping community, definitely shoot us an email and let us know, and we will get everything lined up with you to be able to do this. So thanks again, Jim. I will be still doing net control and helping TC out, and taking registrations and whatnot. So TC will be bringing the information when he's our guest presenter for the night. I'm going to give a short break here. At this time, do we have anybody else who would like to register for the net? And if you're monitoring and would like to register for the net, just let us know. If you want to register, the floor is yours. Okay, well, we'll move down to Donna in Montana. Donna, do you have any questions tonight or any comments about powering your AC stuff?
I don't have any comments or questions. I'm just still learning and trying to soak it all up and figure things out because it's still kind of like Greek to me. However, I will say I'm looking forward to TC's talk. I'm interested in learning about making soap. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a very good deal there with TC, definitely. And I am going to check out that expanded presentation like Jim mentioned. So it's starting to make sense. Everything's starting to come together finally, I think. And Jim, I want to say thank you very much for the time and effort you put into these expanded presentations as well. Like you always say, it's very hard to get everything in an hour time block here and get everybody to be able to picture what you're talking about. So those expanded presentations are very, very nice. I'm going to give a break here. All right, we're going to move on down to TC. TC, do you have any questions or comments tonight?
Negative, Red Bear. I don't have too much to say tonight. It was a good topic. And I'll be looking forward to next week.
Copy that, TC. We're glad you're here. We are definitely glad you're here. We'll check one more time. Do we have anybody else that would like to register for the net tonight? Please go ahead. Well, Jim, I will say this much. I did know about the pure sine wave inverters. I did not know about the modified, though. So you're sending me down a new rabbit hole. Thank you very much.
Well, you really don't want to go down that rabbit hole because you don't need modified sine wave. Electronic equipment doesn't like it, and a lot of other things will work but not work very well. So I just want to let people know that they buy a cheap one. They really need to make sure that it says it is one that is a pure sine wave inverter. That's number one. But some people do lie, so get a name brand one, and we have actually had links to in some of our other videos to some name brand pure sine wave inverters. So yeah, don't go down the rabbit hole. Just be aware of it.
I think I would look at it more just for information. Like I said, I'm aware of the pure sine wave, and I know that is the best inverter to get when you're trying to power your AC equipment or anything like that. So that has been the only way that we have chose to go is the pure sine wave. But I didn't know about the modified until tonight, and that if you say it's not going to work, that just kind of scares me even more.
Yeah, and it's good you're going to watch the expanded because I actually have oscilloscope waveforms of pure sine wave and the modified sine wave. And you look at the two, you'll go, how does that other one actually work? And the answer is not very well. But I've been doing this for a long time, so pure sine wave wasn't around in my time or when I first started this out. So that's all we had. And then when pure sine wave came out, it was very expensive for a pure sine wave. And so you got one, but you got a smaller one, and you only put like your computer on it. Laser printers would not work on a modified, not work at all on a modified sine wave. So so that's how that went. But most everything is pure sine wave. But it's just I wanted to bring that up. So if somebody found something at a garage sale, they would look to make sure that it is a pure sine wave and not a modified sine wave type deal.
Yeah, growing up, obviously, gas-powered generators is what I was used to, and then when the pure sine wave came along, and I started doing some research into that, yeah, it was very expensive when it first came out, and it does give you a lot cleaner energy. So, yeah, a lot of words. Learning how to speak. Welcome to English 101. Anyways, it does give you a lot cleaner energy to power things like your laptop or any radios or anything like that you may need to power. So that is one nice thing about the pure sine wave.
Yeah, and there was a little while back I was a video and I didn't think to save the link, so I could have put it in the description there. Somebody did a test comparing a modified sine wave and a pure sine wave running different pieces of equipment. And it was so obvious that the pure sine wave was so much better. And even if the modified would run it, it would run a microwave, but you didn't get the full power from the microwave. It made noise. It wasn't good for it. The modified sine wave is good for incandescent lights. Works perfectly for that. Incandescent light actually doesn't care whether it's AC or DC. If you could provide 120 volts DC to a regular incandescent light bulb, it will light. It doesn't need to have the AC. But anything that really wants good AC just wants that pure modified sine wave. And again, let me break real quick. And next week we're going to do the DC side. And as I was putting that together and actually running numbers, it was like, oh wow, you can expand your battery bank capacity a bunch by not going through an AC inverter. So we'll cover that, and that's going to be our last one on electricity. Except for I did put together one that is going through quickly all of the things that we talked about on the All About Electricity. So people can listen and go, oh, I didn't hear that one. I didn't hear that one. And so they just got an idea of what we're doing, and then we're going to move on.
Copy that. I just want to check, do we have any last questions or comments tonight with the net? Okay. Well, we would like to thank everybody for being. Well, let me do this first. Jim, do you have any last comments or anything tonight?
Well, the only thing I'd like to say is I too am looking forward to TC's presentation on the YSO. I've sort of looked into that, and at this point dismissed it because of what it would take to do it, and I can go down and buy soap. But I would be very interested in hearing about it. I do make my own laundry detergent for much less than what you can go buy a bottle of the Tide or whatever it is. I know what's in it. There's, not going to mess with any allergies or anything. And I found it has been working for the last 10 years for me quite well. So I'm very interested to hear what that is, and hopefully we'll get that scheduled real soon.
Yeah, I'm excited in that for that. My mother actually makes her own laundry soap, and she goes even so far to make her own lotion. So at the same time, when she makes laundry soap, if she's running low on lotion, she'll make her own lotion as well, using most of the ingredients from her homemade laundry soap, which I thought was pretty cool. So, um, yeah, I'd be curious about the laundry soap, and Damage just spoke up on that and said she wanted to try that out as well, as well as TC's lye soap. So I think that's going to be interesting to learn about, definitely.
Yeah, and I'll try and find a link to the one where just basically quote the recipe that I use, and maybe we can include that when if TC sends me some links to some different sources and stuff, we'll put together a quick little video that we can post that will have those links, so people will be able to go and onto the site and hit those links instead of trying to write them down when TC is giving his presentation.
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want to confirm that, yeah, when I send an email, I will have a couple preferable links, which I use. They're pretty simple to read and easy way to get started with soap. That's how we got started. I started that with my mom, and it's really pretty simple.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, I think that's a good way to go. Because again, this is a radio, and there are some things that you need to have more visual, so be able to have that. And then I'll just go ahead when I find that link for the laundry detergent. I'll just go ahead and include that in there. But definitely, am looking forward to it. And again, anybody else that's out there that's listening, if you got something that you want to do a presentation of, I do this, I've done that, this is how I garden, this is whatever it happens to be, definitely give us a shout on the email address, and let's get something like that going, because I can't cover every possibility in this prepping thing, so a little bit of help doesn't hurt.
Copy that, Jim. Well, we'll go ahead and start wrapping things up here for the net then. Me and Jim would like to thank everybody that did register tonight. Without the numbers, we assume that nobody's listening. But if you are in the background and you have been monitoring, just throw us your name and let us know maybe next week that you would like to monitor only, just to let us know that you're out there. We would be very appreciative of that. So, and Jim, I want to give you a special thanks as well for all the hard work you do bringing this net together and presenting all the information, as well as, running the YouTube channel and the email. So thank you very much. We find everything you present very informative, and we have a good time. So thanks again there, Jim. And we'll pass it over to you for last comments here real quick, and we'll shut her down.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I did pick up the right radio. Sounds good. Yep. And sometimes we have short ones, sometimes we have long ones. That's the way the wind blows. And of course, the dead horse, I'm not going to quite beat him too bad, but that's why we have the expanded presentations, because everybody can't be here every week. So, other than that, I don't have anything.
Copy that. Well, we'd like to thank everybody for joining in for the net tonight. We want to say have a great rest of your weekend, the little bit we have left here, and hopefully a good start to your week tomorrow. Thanks for coming to the net. At this time, we're going to go ahead and shut the net down, and we'll turn channel 14, the prep channel, over to normal operations. Talk to everybody next Sunday. Same time, same channel. Have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend. Montana Jim, I'll be sending that email pretty soon. I meant to send it this week, but since last week it's been somewhat very busy this week for the first time. So I work on sending it out this week. I know it's no rush, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it this week.
Okay, TC. Yeah. Like you said, there's no big super rush. The little presentation or video expanded thing where that information would be, it would be, I could probably do that in half hour. So it's not a big deal. But yeah. So that sounds good. And so you're raring to go, and it's going to be good to have another voice throwing some stuff out there.
And for what's up with this? Only 2 people registered on the net today. That's crazy.
We actually did have one other person, Damage, sitting next to me. She was monitoring the whole time, so she's sitting here listening. So I went ahead and threw her name in the hat as well. Yeah, some nights are like that. So you just keep going though, man, and keep advertising it. So, and let them know on Channel 2 as well, TC, when we're getting closer, that you're going to be running the net that night. That'll definitely bring some numbers in that night.
Yeah, 10-4. I usually call them over every week, but I forgot to this evening. A little busy when we were starting it up, but as we went towards the round table, it was all finished.
Yeah, and I usually post on GroupMe as well about the net, so people can see it in there as well. So yeah, some nights people just get busy. I've had to miss a few nets because of work. So
Yep, 10-4. Montana Jim, thinking about it now, I might actually be able to send that email out to you tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, TC. Yeah, and if you get caught up and stuff's got to be done, don't worry about it. Don't break your neck. So like I said, we got next week's, and then after that, I got the summary where I'm literally going to just do a quick thing. Is we did this one and we covered just a bullet point kind of thing, just so people can sort of get an idea of this is the reason this subject was so long. And the next one's going to be a somewhat of a complicated thing. It's about communications, and there's a lot involved in that. So I got a lot of work to do. So anyway, sounds good, guys. So I'll let everybody go. I think I'm going to go eat my dinner.
have a good night, Jim. Enjoy your dinner, sir. We actually got ours before the net tonight for once, but yeah. We'll talk to you later, Jim. Have a great night, sir. EC, you have a great night as well.
All right, 10-4, you guys out. Yep, y'all have a good night as well. I'm head back over to Channel 2.
And Donna, if you're on here, dear, you have a great night.
Thank you. You guys too. We'll talk to you next week.